So the Uncharted movie finally looks like it's actually going to happen. But believe it or not, the story of this movie starts as far back as 2009. A few years after the release of Uncharted: Drake's Fortune. So I'm going to walk you guys through the entire history of the Uncharted movie, some of the crazy ideas, some of the good sounding ideas, and how we got to where we are today. So the story of Uncharted starts after the release of the first game, which brings us to early June 2009, where the Hollywood Reporter actually did announce that Avi Arad, the man in charge of Spider-Man, would be behind the Uncharted movie, along with the fact that they hired Kyle Ward, who would be writing the script for the film. He, at this time, was also writing Kane and Lynch and the upcoming Hitman sequel. And then there was a bunch of silence, and in November of 2009, Ward ended up dropping out of the project, as he wasn't willing to actually hurry the script up to put it up as fast as Sony wanted it to. After that, Sony quickly replaced him with the writers of the upcoming Conan the Barbarian reboot, which of course starred Jason Momoa. But that wasn't the only thing. They were also hired from having previously worked on the movie Sahara, which initially does have an adventure theme, which they thought they could bring those expertise over to Uncharted, as they wouldn't be in Uncharted territory. And then everything sort of got quiet until May 2010, where Sony announced that they were in talks with the director David O. Russell, who was at the time best known for Three Kings. And the draft was so good at the time that Sony fast-tracked the movie for a summer 2011 release. And then 2 months later, Russell walked away from it, citing some creative differences, and everything was falling apart. Few months after that, it seems that the talks were actually good, considering Russell was actually back on board and he would direct the film. And just days after the announcement, Nathan Fillion would officially start campaigning to play the role of Nathan Drake, which gathered him a lot of support, considering people were literally fan casting him for Nathan Drake before the first game was ever out. Unfortunately, this wasn't going to be a thing, considering David O. Russell actually said he had no idea who Nathan Fillion was. Oh. A little bit of time would go by, and we started to hear the first rumors that a frequent worker with David O. Russell, aka Mark Wahlberg, was in talks to star as Nathan Drake. And as you can probably guess, fans were not happy with this. But then in another interview, David O. Russell would reveal his idea, and that was the fact that the Drake family had a long lineage of being thieves, and that they were well-known people throughout history that collected antiques. Almost sort of like the Crofts in Tomb Raider. Due to massive backlash and pretty much no one wanting to see that version of Nathan Drake, everything kind of fell apart in December of 2010. Starting that December and over the course of the next couple of months, pretty much everything fell apart. Russell started looking at other projects. People involved with the video games were very displeased with what they were hearing, and they were very vocal about it. But everything was still sort of on shaky grounds. And in February of 2011, it was officially announced that Amy Adams had entered negotiations to play Elena. Other actresses such as Scarlett Johansson were also brought up into the mix. And a few weeks later, Mark Wahlberg confirmed this, also saying that Johansson and Eva Mendes were also being considered for these parts. And then at the same interview, he confirmed that the film would be PG-13. And just a few months after that, in May of 2011, the entire movie fell apart, as Russell said that the studio could not agree upon his version of the story, and he had to walk away. At this time, we officially knew that Mark Wahlberg and Robert De Niro were still in fact in the movie. And literally weeks after that, it was officially announced that Neil Berg was on board to direct the movie, and he was going to start writing the movie on from scratch, as he had no idea what Russell had done up to this point, and he wanted to tell his own story. And he said that he was really attracted to this because it was a very cinematic video game that almost felt like a movie, that had very cool characters he could translate to the film. After about a year of developing it, he also dropped out in August of 2012, and he was replaced with the writers of National Treasure to be able to hash out a new script. The next news would come from an unlikely person who was Seth Rogen, who revealed that multiple times Naughty Dog and Sony came to them to develop the movie. They multiple times turned them down, saying this would just be a version of Indiana Jones and we didn't want to do that. And then nothing happened until February of 2014, as it was announced that the film would start shooting in early 2015, and those duties would be taken by Seth Gordon from Horrible Bosses fame. Following this news, Sony announced the movement of The Amazing Spider-Man 3 to 2018 from its previous June 1st, 2016 release date, which was now taken by the Uncharted movie. And it was just a few months after this where Chris Pratt actually revealed that he would not be starring as Nathan Drake despite fan demand, as he passed up on the offer to play the character. And once again, Sony found themselves in trouble, as Gordon actually decided to leave the project, which now had shifted its release date from June 1st, 2016 to June 30th, 2017. And later on in summer of 2016, Joe Carnahan would come on to rewrite the movie. He unfortunately could not direct the film due to having such a busy shooting schedule of his own already. And Uncharted was pulled from its release of June 2017. And after the huge success of Stranger Things on Netflix, Sean Levy officially got on board to direct the Uncharted movie in October of 2016. At this point, Mark Wahlberg also revealed that he was no longer attached to the movie along with anybody that was previously cast. And in May of 2017, it was officially revealed that Tom Holland, the star of Sony's Spider-Man, would officially be playing a young Nathan Drake in a prequel that tells the origin of Nathan Drake. With a release date now unknown, it's most likely that the movie, if it takes off, is going to see a release sometime in late 2018 or summer of 2019.